Hello and welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting's coverage of the final race of the season here for the Spec-5 World Tour. We are on race number 10. They are racing the southern layout here at Silverstone tonight. Silverstone is a motor racing circuit in England near the North Hampshire villages of Silverstone and Whittlebury. It is a current home of the British Grand Prix, which it first hosted as the 1948 British Grand Prix. The 1950 British Grand Prix at Silverstone was the first race in the newly created World Championship of Drivers. The race rotated between Silverstone, Aintree, and Brands Hatch from 1955 to 1986, but settled permanently at the Silverstone track in 1987. The circuit also hosts the British round of the MotoGP series. I am joined tonight by the always awesome Alex Anderson in the commentary booth, and we'll also have Brennan Horan here with us tonight as well. He is also an admin here for the Spec-5 World Tour, so he is doing his briefings before he hops in here. But, Alex, we both thought about 5 minutes ago that this was going to be the full circuit. I know nothing about this southern circuit, so what are you thinking about it? You been watching any laps from these guys?
Well, just like you said, I thought it was going to be the full circuit, and I didn't think it was going to be, because this is the layout from 2008. This is not the current day Silverstone, so I thought it was going to be the full Grand Prix circuit on the new Silverstone. So definitely an interesting track layout. I didn't even know it existed, and I love taking cars to wacky track layouts. So definitely a very interesting track for these drivers to do battle on. You know, it has... I honestly, looking at the track map, I only counted 3 braking zones, so who knows what these guys will do here. You got long straightaways, which drivers will be able to make excellent use of the slipstream as the track map comes up. You can see how long these straightaways are and how many of them there are, so it's definitely going to be easy for these guys to stick together, but it's going to be short lap times with a lot of laps being completed come the end of this race. So honestly, just judging off the track layout and watching these guys complete solo laps, I think we're in for a pretty good race, Adam.
Yeah, this should be a good one. I mean, these cars, lend themselves to some pretty nifty drafting techniques, slipstream techniques. So when these corners, there aren't very heavy braking zones. Like you said, you only saw 3. That may not be the biggest problem here tonight with these Miatas. Knowing how well they can slipstream, we may see some actually good passes here, as right now we are on board here with Mitchell Peak, and we're about to see him come into one of those braking zones, which doesn't really look like a braking zone, does it, Alex?
No, it just looks like one of those really high-speed chicanes. With the way that Mitchell Peak is taking that, it looks like a sharp kink that you might have to brake for. I'm honestly not sure. So we take a look over at the 269 car of Sean Chisholm. Just a high-speed kink leading to a high-speed chicane that you have to be on edge on exit in order to keep yourself out of the grass. I can't imagine people going side by side there. Sean Chisholm sets the fastest lap time because the start-finish line is entering what is present Silverstone Grand Prix, the last chicane. The start-finish line is on the entry of where the last chicane is on Silverstone today. So I'm really excited to see how this race goes, as we're about to see Sean Chisholm come through that high-speed section of chicanery again.
Yeah, I really don't know how to lay this track out for everyone. I mean, this track is so weird. It incorporates parts of the new track that we know today, but this is, again, the legacy layout. So this is definitely the old track layout for these cars, and I'm kind of at a loss here. I guess I should have gotten a little more experience here. We'll go ahead and ride on board here with Sean Chisholm and see exactly what he's doing. We'll pull up this dashboard as well. There on the right side, you can see the speed. So this is the final corner. It does look like, so this is part of the new layout as well, and this is where the start-finish line is. And yeah, you're right, coming into this chicane right here. That is the new layout chicane Wow, this is going to be interesting. That's going to be a very interesting passing opportunity right there, Alex, right after the start-finish line.
Yeah, people are going to be out-braking each other all to hell going into that corner. Side by side, you go full brakes. That's probably the sharpest braking zone on this corner as we see Chisholm coming through. Let's go on a bit of a flying lap here. Chisholm is going to come through this high-speed chicane section that we mentioned before. Looks very difficult to make maneuvers through. Go full throttle through the high-speed kink, off the throttle. Doesn't even look like you brake a little, just all lifting, just throwing the car through that section. Now on the brakes for what I believe is parts of Beckett's and Maggots on present-day Silverstone. Then down this long back straightaway that we know and love and under the Silverstone Bridge. And coming into the last corner where we've seen a multitude of great passes in real life and on iRacing, including Formula 1, GT3, and a bunch of other different series. Looks like you have to brake for it in these Miatas from 4th gear to 2nd gear. Goes Chisholm through the last corner, brings it right out nicely to the curb, across the start-finish line, and into what is turn 1 on this circuit, but the final chicane on New Silverstone.
So you guys are going to see Sean Chisholm does not have a color next to his name. I'm going to pull up this class display for you here, and you'll see Open and Pro, and then if we were not riding on board right now with Sean, you'd see a little black-gray bar over there. That is because there have been some new drivers into this league, and they did not get inputted into the overrides. But I can tell you right now that Sean is an open class driver. So he's going to be part of that blue squad, as is David Tamira, actually. It's not showing if he is an open or a pro. Once Brennan gets in here, I'm sure he'll be able to clear some of that up for us. But at the moment, you can see Sean Chisholm is an open class driver, so he will be scored as an open class driver tonight. Might get a little bit confusing for some people trying to follow on, and it might get confusing for us as commentators as well, but we'll do what we can for you. Sean setting another purple sector here. We're going to go ahead and go on here with Rui Coimbra. Looks like he's on a pretty quick lap.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a great job here. He's got 2 green sectors, a yellow second middle sector across the line. It's going to put him P3 right now. Otis Adams Jr. currently tops the charts with Mitchell Peak in 2nd, Coimbra 3rd, Rath in 4th. Then Simon Foweather rounds out the top 5. And these guys in the top 5, I mean, talk about close racing and qualifying, but these guys are less than 2/10 apart. As if we look down to the bottom of the screen, we can see that Sean Hayes has set the fastest second sector of the session, gets a green last sector, and it still ends up with him P7. Looks like he's going to brake, pull off, try and reset to get a last back half of qualifying, get some good laps in to try and put himself further up on the grid.
Going on here, try to see if we can find anybody else out on track. Nope. We're going to go ahead and go away from that guy real quick, and we're looking here at Rui Coimbra again. Looks like he's going to try to throw another lap down, 2 yellow sector so far. These ones are going to have to be pretty quick. We've got another new driver here of Robert Hartley. We've got quite a few new drivers tonight, Brendan. This is awesome to see. I apologize, not Brennan, Alex. I was looking at Brennan's text message, and I called you Brennan again, Alex. But we do have a bunch of new drivers here tonight, Alex.
Yeah, and speaking of Hartley, he has set the fastest 1st and 3rd sector. Overall, looks like that 2nd sector killed his lap time, but definitely still a great driver, and I would really expect him to do good here. Probably just a warm-up lap for him as he comes through turns 1, 2, and 3, now into 4 and 5. Hard on the brakes. A yellow first sector for him. He's going to brake hard into this second chicane. Gets it on the curbs both times. Doesn't get it on the second one that much. And down this short chute between turn 5 and turn 6. Again, the high-speed kink. And I was honestly expecting some hard braking for this corner. But you only really have to lift here. You don't have to brake at all in these Miatas. Now through the end of Maggots and Beckett's here at the Silverstone circuit. That's on the present day layout. Down this long back straightaway, we know it, we love it, And for these guys, definitely going to be some fantastic drafting opportunities for them as they come down, as Hartley comes down the back straightaway. He's doing a pretty decent job on his lap so far. Gets the fastest Sector 3 through the last corner, drops it down 2 gears. Down into third, 78 miles an hour was his slowest. It was 77 there just on exit. Crosses the line, a 1:18.0 for him. It's going to move him up to P8. Pretty good lap for him. And I would say if I start there in my first race, I'm going to be pretty happy.
Yes, I absolutely would be as well. Guys, bear with me here. You guys can look here on the left side of the screen. You're going to see drivers probably still. Looks like Rui Coimber's the only person out on track. I'm going to try to get some of these new drivers added to this overlay so we can actually tell the difference between the pro and the open drivers. So give me just a few seconds here. What are your thoughts here tonight, Alex, when it comes to lap 1? We are doing heat races tonight. So that's going to really play a factor big time, I would think, when it comes to kind of where you want to start, where you want to finish. Remember, top 8 and invert.
Yeah, and I personally did not know that, and that shakes this up a lot. Remember how at Twin Ring Motegi, same thing, and we were talking about people purposely trying to finish in a certain spot to get a better shot in the second race? We might just have to see that again, and obviously it's going to be a very different complexity here at the 2008 Silverstone Southern Circuit, a very weird track layout. I personally didn't even know it existed till 15 minutes before the start, but I think it's honestly going to be a really good race. We have hard braking zones into chicanes where the cars can stay even, and then we go from that to long straightaways where the slipstream can just bring everybody right back together. So like the Kemmel Straight at Spa, I think the straights here are going to play a great role in determining the outcome of both of these races and seeing where people are going to finish.
Yeah, it definitely should. So this is, I mean, I'm just ready to get this underway. You can see there are still a few minutes left in qualifying. I think Hartley is maybe one of the few drivers out. No, there are some more people coming out now. Looks like their driver's brief was completed, and they're going to go on out here and get some stuff in.
Excuse me, I did not know it was my turn. But here comes the 3 of Hartley. Going to break into the turn 4 chicane on another flying lap for that 3 car. You can see him going slow, just pacing around the track at under 40 miles an hour to prepare himself. And so far, a yellow Sector 1, not much of an improvement there. Currently 35 seconds on his lap time, and through the high-speed kink and into the chicane. Honestly, I think that these guys might have to sort themselves out before then. I just can't see them going side by side through this section without losing at least a couple seconds. Hartley does a good job maneuvering it, though. Currently yellow Sector 2 as well. He's going to come down this long back straightaway. He's trying to keep the car nice and clean, just on that throttle as much as possible, being smooth with the steering back there. Another yellow sector. I don't think he's going to improve on this one. Breaks into the last corner, down to third gear, onto the front straightaway. He's going to come under the Santander Abbey Bridge, and it doesn't look like he's going to improve there for that 3 camp, but still probably just some practice for him, as we do know he is new to this series in the open class.
Yeah,
so I think that he's going to get a pretty decent finish here, even if he doesn't start too well. Like we said, the top 8 invert, as actually he just goes out and sets the fastest Sector 1, so he might be on a flyer here.
Yeah, you better watch out. I've got a message here from Greg Brockway in the chat, and it says Hartley has about a 10K I rating, so I think this guy may just be throwing in some sighting laps. I think we're about to see a flyer now.
I did not know that, and just as you say that, fastest Sector 1 and 2, well, 10,000 I-rating driver. Obviously, if any of you play iRacing, you do know that that is insane for anyone in any series, in any division, and I'm really impressed to see what lap time he pulls down after learning that information. Fastest Sector 3 as well, through the final corner, down into third gear. drops to 77 and back on the throttle. And down the final straight, 2.5 minute lap. Looks like that's what the overlay's telling me.
Yeah,
But,
what the heck happened there? Hartley throwing down an absolute heater, and I wonder if he may have had an off track there.
Yeah, definitely. I can't think of another reason why that would have happened. But I think you're exactly right about that. I think maybe when he was cutting that second chicane to try and shave off fractions of a second, maybe just got too far off on the curb, and that brought him to an off track. But still, if I'm anybody in this field, I'm definitely going to be scared of him. Hartley is going to be a really hard driver to beat this race. And honestly, judging off how these past few weeks again, I think Ruby Coimbra has some competition heading his way.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. Looks like we may have, very quickly, a grid for you. Just wait here a few more seconds. There it is, and I will let you take them through it, Alex.
All right, well, an unknown driver starts P1. You guys may or may not understand why we don't want to say his name. Mitchell Peak, P2, only 500ths back. Ruby Coimbra, 800ths back off your leader, starts P3. Tom Rath, after some incredible quali sessions the past few weeks, he starts P4. Hopefully he can get another impressive result. Simon Foweather ends up starting P5. Robert Hart, I completely skipped an entire row. Jordy Fike, currently P6, currently 5/10ths off the leader. Sean Hayes, P7. Robert Hartley, definitely going to be a threat tonight, starts P8. Nicky Barovic, P9. Jose Gonzalez, P10. Brian Zabelski, P11. Sean Chisholm, P12, new open driver. Charles Vaccaro, P13. Stephen Hellowell, P14, Greg Brockway in P15, Brennan Horn, P16, and David Tamira rounds out your 17-car field tonight at Silverstone.
Looks like we've got them all lined up, ready for them to go. It's looking like a full out lap here, and I'm going to try to get one more driver at it. Top 7 invert, I apologize. It's not top 8. It is top 7 invert tonight, and I'm going to try to get one more driver added here to the overlay so we can at least have one less gray name. So, Alex, I'm going to let you do some more talking, buddy.
All right, that's perfectly okay with me. I'm really excited for how this race is going to go down. Redacted starts P1, Mitchell Peak P2. We've got some great drivers on your front row, and some really fast drivers throughout the entire field. We've got, the open class drivers trying to just scoundrel a win away from the pros. Everybody's going to be going as hard as possible. It's the championship race for these guys. 2 classes, the same points, 2 champions, plus a championship for whoever has the least incidents at the end of the season. And I think it's all going to shape up to be a very interesting race for us tonight. So, with that being said, as they come through turn 3, I just think that this race, we're on a new track layout, unknown track layout, and it's going to be really interesting here tonight, y'all. I mean, like I said, I heard of this track layout originally like 15 minutes before we had to go live, so it's definitely a confusing track layout to say the least. You got slow, not even hairpins. There are no hairpins on this track. You've got slow chicanes leading to high-speed corners. You got kinks into a chicane you don't need to brake for. You've got right-handers that feel like they go on forever and ever and ever that you have to slow down for. Then, after all that is said and done, you have some really long straights where the slipstream is just going to put these guys right back together. So definitely a really interesting race that's going to shape up for us tonight. The 22 car is going to lead the field to green. Mitchell Peak in the 56, starting to his right. And judging off the shape of that first chicane, I would imagine that our pole sitter is probably really scared of the car to his outside, because if he can't get away with the lead after turn 1, 2 and 3, he's going to be on the outside for those, and that's going to allow the 56 to just slip right on by. So under the Silverstone Bridge we come, down the DRS back straightaway for the Formula 1 cars. We're racing in Miatas here tonight, probably about 100 miles an hour slower. So definitely going to be a really interesting race. Just like Spa, I think everybody's going to be sticking right with each other. But for the final corner, we're going to give him a start for a good send-off to Season 8 of the Spec-5 World Tour. Pace car pulls into pit lane. Around the final corner they come. 2 championships, 17 drivers. Only 2 drivers can hoist the championship for their class at the end of the race. And off the final corner, down to the start-finish line. We're green at Silverstone. The final race of the Spec-5 World Tour is underway. Down into turn 1. The 56 tries to maintain Mitchell Peak. He's to the inside of the 22. 22 goes wide. Here comes Mitchell Peak back to the bottom. He's going to try and take that lead going down this back straightaway. One of these guys is going to have to give going into turn 4. They're still barely even coming into this chicane. And the 22, no, he's not done yet. They're still side by side, and Mitchell Peak takes the lead out of turn 5.
Watch out, though, because that 22 is now under fire from 2 people behind him by the names of Tom Rath and Rui Coimbra. It looks like Tom's going to get around Rui. He's going to make a 2-for-1 before they get to the next technical corner. What a move there by Tom Rath.
Yeah, and really an incredible move from him. He already puts himself up into P2. Our pole sitter drops back to P3 on the first lap of this race. But just as we were saying that it could be super easy for cars to stick together, Mitchell Peak, he's pulled away 1.2 seconds, and these 2 cars racing behind him are not going to help catch up to your current leader. They're still side by side coming out of the final corner down the front straightaway. And going into the chicane, it's going to hurt him even more. But looks like 22 might have lifted a little bit. And Tom Rath in the 41 car takes second place going into turn 1. Now these 2 need to step on it and really work together to try and catch up to Mitchell Peak. Looks like Tom Rath goes for a bit of a late apex there. Still, the gap 1.2 seconds. They got some work to do if they want to catch up to that leader.
They really do. I think at this point, they need to start working together, because if you look behind, oh my goodness, who was that? That was Tom Rath, just spins out of nowhere. Don't know if he put a tire on the grass or what, but watch out, because here comes Simon Foweather, and that guy is also very, very fast.
And just really unfortunate for Tom Rath. It just seems like he's not going to catch a break the past few races. He's been so fast and things have just not gone his way. But with that 41 car, for the moment, being out of the equation, if we take a look towards our lead, that's a 1.7 gap. Otis Adams Jr., as I'm going to finally say his name. We didn't want to because we don't want another commentator's curse. But you know what? Now that I've done it, might happen again. We're going to hope it doesn't, because Otis Adams Jr. is a very fast driver. We do know this. He needs to keep his head clear, keep his foot down, and try and close that gap. He's very fast at this track, took pole. He just needs to keep his foot in it and try and catch up to that leader. If he can try and get his teammate in 4th around Simon Foweather to try and push him down these straightaways to try and make up time on the 56 using the slipstream. But he's got some work to do if he wants to catch up to Mitchell Peak.
Yeah, he does. That gap is coming down, though. You can see, you just mentioned 1.7. We're down to 1.3 now. I do think Otis Adams may be able to stay with Mitchell Peak. The question is, can Foweather stay with Adams? Because you've got Foweather and Coimbra back there. Robert Hartley is kind of falling off the back of he's kind of leading this second pack, if you will, from 5th, man, almost down to, well, long way down. All of them within 1 second of each other, from Robert Hartley all the way down to Tom Rath back there in 15th place, who you did see just kind of lose it on his own. But yeah, this is going to be some good, tight racing. I have a feeling as this gap is still steadily maybe coming down, but look out, because Rui Coimbra is now on the back of Simon Foweather.
Yeah, but going back towards 5th place, our Mr. 10K as Ruby Coimbra makes a dive for P3 down to Simon Foweather. Can't get the job done. But going back to P3, Mr. 10K has already made up 3 spots in just the first 4 minutes of this race. So like we said, I think he's still definitely a threat to try and win this race. I mean, if he finishes P5, the top 8 get inverted. So that 3 car goes from P5 on the grid to P3. And with the rest of these drivers around him going for the championship, I don't think that they're going to want him up there interfering with that. But it's going to be really interesting to see what Hartley can do here in his first showing that I have seen of the Spec-5 World Tour. Back up front, Otis Adams has done a great job closing that gap, set the fastest lap that time by with a 1:17.483. He's cut that gap down by 0.3. He's just almost within slipstream range. He just needs to run some consistent laps here, keep his head straight, keep his foot down, and he'll have caught up to the leader with Simon Foweather and Ruby Coimbra approaching behind him.
Yep, so we're about to see exactly what Otis Adams can do. He is holding that gap between him and Foweather. I think Foweather may be a little bit worried about Coimbra back there in 4th place at the moment, but Adams is definitely holding his own right now. We do have a shout out here. We have Frito Sport saying, "Go get him, Brockway." Down here, we can see Greg Brockway in 14th position, just running his own race right now, just keeping it clean, keeping it steady. We'll see exactly what he can do later on in the race. And we do have Jason Boos as well in the chat. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And we've got him rooting up here for Mitchell Peak. So we do have some definite drivers, or some people rooting on some drivers tonight. We got a good turnout here, Alex.
Yeah, and definitely, if your favorite driver is the 22 here of Otis Adams Jr., you just have to be on the edge of your seat. He's just so close to the back bumper of the 56. He just needs to get, like I've said it before, I'll probably say it again, he just needs to get his head straight, put his foot down, and he needs to catch up to that leader as we enter the 6.5 minute mark of this race. Ruby Coimbra goes down to the inside of Simon Foweather to try and take that spot away. He's going to get it. He's going to clear him before they get to the exit. And now, Ruby Coimbra, like we were mentioning earlier, even if they're a second back from Otis Adams Jr., Simon Foweather actually tries to go to the outside there to make a crossover. Doesn't work. But now, if you're Ruby Coimbra, what do you got to do here? You have 2 options. If you can catch your teammate, do you push him to the lead, or do you try and pass him and take it for yourself? We know Ruby Coimbra is a very fast driver, and he's in the pro class. I wouldn't be shocked if Mitchell Peak is one of his championship competitors up there. So it's got to be up to Ruby Coimbra on this. Otis Adams Jr. going for his own championship as well. So these teammates might become enemies here tonight.
Yeah, just think about this for 1 second here. This team, not a team. As you can see, they don't even have a team name there on the bottom left on the overlay, are clearly a team. They have got the exact same colored cars, same paint scheme, same spec maps, all of that stuff. And they have mentioned each other in the past. And if Rui's been listening to the broadcast here for the past, I don't know, month and a half, you would think that maybe they do get to work together here and get up to Mitchell Peak. Otis doesn't really look like he needs much help, though. He is slowly but surely closing that gap down. The question is tires, Alex. We do know that they don't need to stop for fuel due to this heat race configuration, but are they going to burn off the tires? You can see that even though there aren't very hard braking zones on this track, you're putting a lot of G-forces through those tires around most of these corners.
Yeah, definitely. But honestly, I think that nobody's going to come in, no matter what here, for either of these races. I mean, the tires are going to take a beating, no doubt, as Otis Adams actually gets a pretty bad exit there off turn 5, loses a bit of time. This is where Coimbra can choose to help his teammate or go right around him. But going back to the tire talks, if we're talking about if these guys are going to pit 4 tires midway through this race, I'm going with you're definitely going to feel some tire wear, and it's definitely going to affect you later on in one of these 20-minute races. But as we're already approaching the halfway point of this one, I just don't see it being worth it. I don't think that losing 30, 40, 50 seconds off pitting is worth it, especially with how fast these cars around here. We don't have very many hard braking zones, but even with that, I
Well,
mean, it just doesn't seem worth it to me. I don't think that risking I just don't think that track position is
I'm
worthy enough to give up 30, 40 seconds of lap time on which you probably won't be able to make up that gap in around 5 minutes.
Well, I'm not really talking pitting as much as I am just trying to save some of your stuff until the end of the race, because you can turn these things into molten lava, and pitting is definitely not the way you want to go. But you do have to think about how much tire wear. I mean, think about it as a short track on an oval, right? You need to save some tires for the end of these stints. So you wonder how much these guys are, how many of these guys are doing that.
Yeah, and it just goes exactly back to what we were talking about with pitting. You're not going to want to pit, but you're going to want to try and baby these tires around to try and have still some tread left for the final 5-6 minutes to try and make a push to get some spots. And it's just, you have to think, is Mitchell Peak burning his stuff off just trying to keep in front of these cars behind him? Or is Otis Adams burning off his stuff trying to catch up to Mitchell Peak, but to no avail?
Well, I was going to say that may be the bigger question, is how much Otis Adams has put, how much stress he's put on these tires of this car, because he is slowly but surely losing that one. It was 1 second a lap and a half ago. It is up to 1.6 now. So either Otis has had a few off tracks, which could be the case, but looking here, I don't see very many. I see more of an issue maybe of Otis just losing time, maybe letting these tires cool down and try to make another run. As you can see him slowly starting to catch up to Peak again, and Coimbra can't do much behind Adams either, as Coimbra is actually coming back under fire from full weather.
Yeah, and Foweather, you got to think of what he can do in this situation. And Sean Hayes as well. These guys, all three of them open drivers. And I would imagine that they're all in the championship hunt here for tonight. So you got to think, what can Simon Foweather do here to try and catch up to Otis Adams Jr. and make up some points in the open standings? And what can Sean Hayes do to try and make up some points in the open standings as well? We have a break in the action. We take a look at the open points. You look at the top three separated by 4 points. Some insane stress being placed on these guys to do well here. And it's just got to be wild being behind the wheel of one of these cars, knowing that one spot could make all the difference.
So when we do get Brennan in here, he can go over these points a little more. But you also have to think, at this moment, I do believe that there are 60 points allotted throughout the field. 60 points to first, 59 to second, 58 to third, and so on, all the way down the field. So each position is only worth 1 point, but they also give out bonus points for laps led and cleanest driver, things like that, like least amount of incident points. So that could also come into play towards the end of this race. Man, it's gonna be up for grabs here. I did not realize that those points were that close. We're sitting here looking at Sean Hayes still, and while we're doing that, we can go ahead and bring up the pro points to see exactly where they are, see if anybody has locked those in yet. And it looks like Rui Coimbra is just out for a Thursday evening stroll at this point.
Yeah, and Rui Coimbra I don't think Jordy Fike is even. Jordy Fike is in this race. However, he's not doing too good for himself. Excuse me, George Fike. He's not doing too... Wait, that is Jordy Fike. Excuse me. I was reading the name wrong. In P6 currently. And with only 1 point being given, I think Rui Coimbra has just got this one locked up. It's been a great season for him so far, especially off the last 2 races. But going back to talks about this open class, it really can't get any closer. If the points you gain are separated by 1, I do believe that, yes, Foweather is leading the points. Otis Adams is 4 points back. So either Otis Adams needs to head for some bonus points, or he needs to beat Foweather by 4 spots overall. He's currently beating him by 2, which would move the 22 car up to second in the standings, only 2 points behind Simon Foweather entering this second race. So you just gotta think of what Foweather can do here. He has to get around Rui Coimbra to give himself a better shot, and he's gonna try. He goes to the outside into the last corner. Coimbra beautifully blocks the inside, but they're really close down the front straightaway. Simon Foweather, I don't know if he's close enough to try and pull anything. He just tries to get a nice run through the chicane. Coimbra again blocks the inside, and you gotta think, we see it in racing all the time. Are team orders playing an effect here? Coimbra doesn't have to sacrifice anything to win this championship. He just needs to have a nice, clean night, and he'll have won it for him by the end of the day.
Honestly, I don't know if anybody can even catch Coimbra if Coimbra makes a massive mistake. So you almost wonder if Coimbra is actually trying just to hold Foweather back there behind him. This will be something that we may bring up in the driver interviews if we get to see these guys on the podium, which, again, this is a heat race with the top 7 invert. We're not going to be able to get drivers in for the podium talks between the first and second race. So we'll just have to bring the podium drivers in for the second race. But at the moment, you wonder, because you can see if it doesn't look like Coimbra's just going extremely defensive and just holding Foweather back there. As I say that, though.
Foweather does a great job through that corner. He's going to get to Coimbra's inside, breaking into the first chicane. We were talking about team orders. You have to think if Coimbra was just trying to block Foweather there, but Foweather makes up the spot, puts himself into P3 for this race, and now, if things stay the way they are, Otis Adams, he's only going to gain 1 point from this, but looking towards further back, Robert Hartley has made up the 2-second gap as Coimbra goes a very deep inside move.
Wow.
And Foweather hits the grass there.
Oh, look at Hartley.
3 wide going into turn 6. Hartley, with quite possibly the most insane move I've seen yet, takes him 3 wide through the middle and gets both the spots. Now side by side through here. Ooh, they made it stick. Foweather takes back 4th, just as we were saying that Otis Adams was only going to gain 1 point. Robert Hartley came in and just stole P3.
Now, here's the thing. If Rui Coimbra can fight back onto Simon Foweather, that is going to make things extremely interesting here in the Open Championship going into race number 2. So just get ready. These points probably won't be tallied tonight, because I know the admins have a whole lot of bean counting to do, especially when it comes to heat races. But right now, Otis Adams is not sitting in a bad position. But again, remember, these do invert. Top 7 invert. We're at 17 out of 20 minutes right now. That top 7 is going to invert, and then all of a sudden, Simon Foweather is doing a little better than Otis Adams.
Yeah, but you have to think, what strategy can Foweather pull here if he can't make up the ground to Otis Adams? You got to think it's what we were talking about at Twin Ring Motegi. Does Foweather try and purposely fall back, try and give himself a better start position in the second race? If top seven does invert, which if Simon Foweather, Rui Coimbra trying to make a move, but if Simon Foweather finishes 6th or 7th or even 5th, he'll start in the top 3 for the second race. Is actually Rui Coimbra goes wide there, and here comes Jordy Fike, that championship running driver for the Pro Series, takes the top 5 spot away from Coimbra, maybe just trying to give a bit of room. And you have to think, what can Foweather do here? If he falls back to P6, P7, he'll start front row of the second race. And if Otis Adams finishes where he currently is right now, he'll end up starting dead last.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty, second to last, but, well, dead last, top 7 again.
P6, P7.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Not where you want to be, especially, we've seen passes being made here, but it's not as close, really, as I may have expected Silverstone to be in these Miatas. So This is, as we have Rui coming back here on Jordy Fike, I think Rui may have had a slowdown going through this section right here, your Maggots and Beckett's section, as Rui, man, is just trying to send it right now.
Yeah, and Rui Coimbra might just be having a bit of fun out there, trying to drive hard, but also trying to give his teammate a better shot at winning the Open Championship. And you got to think about it. If Otis Adams, if these guys stay where they are, which I believe they are going to take the white flag this time by.
Don't say that yet. Look at the gap look at what Otis Adams has done to this gap on Mitchell Peak going into the final lap.
Yeah, and it's going to be super close here. Only 6/10. Just a lap ago, it was 1.2 seconds. So Adams really pushing here to try and get that spot to try and win this race, as the timer is going to pass the 20-minute mark, and that will make this the final lap of Heat 1. Otis Adams needs to just push as hard as he can, and he's going to try and try and try. Currently 6.6 tenths, dropping down to six. I can't speak right now. dropping down to 7 tenths there, 8 tenths now, and into Beckett's almost to a second. But now it's just going to stay in between 9 tenths and 1 second. Now it drops down to 8 tenths. I don't think Adams can do anything here, but this is going to put him 2 points further up on Foweather. So coming through the last corner, Otis Adams, to at least tie, needs to finish 2 spots ahead of Foweather in the next race to win the Open Championship, or at least tie it. But out of the final corner, Mitchell Peak, a great Heat 1 for him, clean racing for him, easily down to the line to win Heat 1.
Yeah, great driving there for Mitchell Peak with Otis Adams in second. You can see Robert Hartley made some moves, some big moves, getting up there in to third place with Simon Foweather back there in fourth. Jordy Fike, 5th, Rui Coimbra, 6th, and Sean Hayes rounds out your top 7. That gets inverted. So, Sean Hayes sitting on the front row there with Mr. Rui Coimbra. So, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what these guys can do here in heat number 2. Waiting for everybody to get across the line here. Looking like we're waiting for Greg Brockway at the moment. You can see him coming around the final corner now. And going to be crossing the finish line right about now. And that should bring up our results for heat number 1. And it is all up to you, Alex. It is not going to bring up the results for heat number 1 because I forgot that when we go into heats, it will not bring up results for me. But I can bring them to you. No, I can't right now. I thought I could. Sorry, guys. We gave you the top 7. After that, I kind of don't really know.
Yeah, and this Heat 2 is shaping up to be something wild. You have drivers that are trying to just at least just get a win by the end of the season. Mitchell Peak to try and improve just with how he's been, but he's starting P7 in this Heat. And then you look further back in the field, and you got the Open Championship battle. Starting P6 is going to be Otis Adams Jr., and starting 2 spots ahead of him is the person that he needs to finish 2 spots ahead of, Simon Foweather. And this is just going to be a really chaotic Heat 2, I would say. As we take a look at those point standings again, these are not updated. So, currently, it is between Simon Foweather and Otis Adams. Sean Hayes, if he can pull something fantastic off, he might give himself a shot. But, judging off of what we know, Otis Adams currently just 2 points behind Simon Foweather. He needs to finish at least 2 spots ahead of Foweather to at least tie for the championship, and from there, I think it might go to the most wins.
Yeah, it might. You also have to think, so Sean Hayes finished 7th in that race, with Foweather finishing 5th?
I believe it was P4, and Otis Adams finished P2.
All right, so that would put us right now with Sean Hayes finishing 7th and Foweather finishing P4. That would put Foweather up on Sean Hayes by 1 point, with Otis Adams behind, as you mentioned, Foweather by 2 points. No, I apologize. No, yeah, you're right. This is Simon Follweather is basically race to lose at this point. So Follweather, if he can stay ahead of Otis Adams needs 2 more positions just to get to a tie. Sean Hayes, on the other hand, definitely needs a win here just to keep this battle going. And we do have some social media sites, guys. Hit us up on Slow Motion Broadcasting on Facebook. We've got a Twitter as well as what else do we have? A website,
Sure.
slowmotionbroadcasting.com down there. We will go ahead and give you guys, after the race, we'll go ahead, once we get the points from the admins, we'll throw them up on our social media sites and give you guys what the championship winners will be. So this is going to be very, very interesting, to say the least, on this last race. You know these top 3 drivers are going to absolutely be driving like crazy, Alex.
Yeah, and we're going to mention it time and time again during this race, but Otis Adams Jr., he needs to finish 2 spots ahead of Follweather, but he's starting 2 spots behind Follweather. And Otis Adams, we've seen him get in various incidents in the past. He's very fast, but he just can't stay consistent with his finishes, which has probably hurt him in the point standings overall. And this is one race where he just needs to put that behind him and just focus and just try and do everything that he can. This is his race to win at this point. Like you said, it's Follweather's race to lose here. If Follweather can pull a nice, clean, and consistent race, he'll have won himself the championship. And with the aggressiveness of these drivers, like you mentioned, how they were probably going to be driving crazy in the first couple of laps here. So we take a look at Stephen Hallowell getting on track in the last 45 seconds of this 5-minute warm-up. You have to think Otis Adams, his race to win at this point, it's either go big or go home for him. And we've seen how aggressive he can be. He's going to have to do it without taking himself out of this race. If he can do that, he'll have passed Stephen Hallowell in 2 more cars and gotten himself a shot at the championship.
Yeah, this is going to be a big, big deal. We have mentioned, we're going to say it, and I'm not going to try to commentators curse it here. We thought Otis Adams may be able to pull a win out of his pocket these past few weeks. He needs one tonight. Absolutely needs to win to even give himself a chance at taking the championship here in the open class. As you guys saw, these points are very close. If he wins and Simon Follweather comes in third, that would leave them tied for points. If he wins and Simon Follweather comes in fourth, Otis Adams Jr. has just won the championship for your open drivers. So this is going to be a big, big deal going into this final race of the season.
Yeah, and it's going to be a chaotic race. This is the feature race for Silverstone. This is the final race of the season. Sean Hayes starts up front. Currently, with the way things are looking just off the starting grid, this is not going to give Sean Hayes the championship. He has some work to do to get out in front of Simon Follweather. But looking a bit further back in that outside row, you see the 22 car. It's just, I know all these cars look the same just with different paint jobs, but I can just see the determination in the front bumper of that 22 car. And if Otis Adams can work with it and get it up front towards the end of this race, he might give himself a shot. But up front, Sean Hayes is going to start on pole for the feature. After finishing a disappointing 7th for himself in the first heat, he needs a miracle to get it done at this point. And
Rui Coimbra has not started. Rui Coimbra did not grid.
Oh. That might just be Rui saying that I've gotten so far out ahead that I don't need to race. And going back to team orders, he might be trying to help work his teammate, Otis Adams Jr., through this field to try and get that open drive of the championship. Right. And actually, now that I think about it, look at how that's going to affect the start of this race. In iRacing, if the person in front of you does not start, you take their spot.
Right.
So if I start P5 and the guy in third doesn't grid, I start third.
All right, so looking here real quick
Simon Foweather.
at the lineup here. We've got Hayes, Foweather, Fike, Adams, Hartley, Chisholm, Peak, Borovic, Vaccaro, and Rath starting out your top 12. Rounding out your 17-car field is Zabelski, Hellowell, Brockway, Horn, and Tamira. Don't think Horn and Tamira are racing tonight. So this is a 15-car field, and you can continue with what you were saying there, Alex.
All right, well, anyways, thank you for that, Adam. I completely forgot to read over that. But team orders, like we were talking about. If I start P5, the guy in P3 doesn't grid, I start P3. So, with that, look at how this order is shaken up. Simon Foweather was supposed to start 4th with Rui Coimbra in front of him. That would have put Otis Adams Jr. in 6th. But, because of Coimbra not gridding, Otis Adams Jr. starts P4, right behind his championship competitor, without any cars in front of him. So, we talked about Otis Adams' aggressiveness. If he can just throw it 3 wide into turn 1, I mean, I know it seems like a far-fetched idea, but I've seen him do crazier things. It's going to come down to a really close fight. If you look at the standings, Rui Coimbra is so far out in front, he realizes he doesn't even need to start this race to win the championship. So just trying to give his teammate the best shot possible. Really respectable in the sense trying to help his teammate get the championship. But out of turn 4, this is it. It all comes down to this. Hayes, Foweather, Adams, Fike, Hartley, your top 5. The green flag is out. The final race of the Season 8 of the Spec-5 World Tour at Silverstone is underway down into turn 1. Sean Hayes easily takes the lead. Simon Foweather tries to get up to Jordy Fike to try and take that spot away. He does. Simon Foweather currently P2. Otis Adams trying to get around that 09 car, but he's got Hartley right to his outside. Going into turn 4, one of these guys is going to have to give. It's neither of them. Down into the chicane. Hartley takes the spot away.
Wow, what a move.
And Otis Adams from P4 to P5 now. This is not how he wanted his race to start. He has some real work to do. Sean Chisholm and Mitchell Peak racing back there. Chisholm takes P6 by the time they get to turn 6. Hey, that rhymed. Jordy Fike takes second away, actually. Sean Hayes went a bit wide there, exiting that corner. And that's going to give Simon Foweather the lead on lap 1 of this race. Here comes Robert Hartley trying to make a move for 4th place. Down the long straightaway and into the final corner. Hartley going to easily clear Hayes by the time they get there. Here comes Otis Adams trying to do the same thing. And this is where it gets really interesting, because as it stands, unless Jordy Fike gets past Foweather, same thing for Hartley, there's no way that Otis Adams can win this, because he can't finish 2 cars ahead of Foweather if Foweather's out leading.
Yeah, so Jordy and Hartley are the 2 drivers stuck in an open class battle, sandwiched right now in between Foweather, Adams, and Hayes, who is now fallen back to 6th place. But you got Mitchell Peak there in between Hayes and Adams. But these 2 pro drivers, obviously they're going out to get the win, but they also have to think about who they're around and who they're battling right now. These 3 are locked in a battle for a championship win in the open class, so they have got to be extremely careful if they do try to go for moves, or just get out of the way if they do think that they're going to try to, if they are going to start battling and bumping either one of these, any of these open drivers here in these top 3 with Foweather, Adams, and now Chisholm's gotten around Hayes. Hayes may have a problem.
Yeah, I wonder if he might have gotten a bit of damage from hitting a curb the wrong way. Doesn't look like it. He might have just not gotten the start he wanted to. Maybe just cold tires got the best of him. But piggybacking off of what you were saying, Otis Adams, he needs a miracle at this point. I mean, he needs to pass the 3 cars in front of him and somehow send Foweather back to 4th at the same time. So, if Otis Adams wants to win himself or at least tie the championship standings, he needs himself and Foweather to finish in the exact opposite spots right now.
Yeah, this is not what Adams wants. Keep in mind, this is a 20-minute race. What Adams can't afford is to be battling one of these drivers in front of him, and it cause him lose a second, or, worst case scenario, lose 20 seconds. So what he can't do is get himself involved in battles with these drivers in front of him. If he wants, maybe try to work with Hartley. Get Hartley up there onto the back of Fike, and hopefully Hartley helps Fike, and hopefully they can do this DRS train with these three to get up to Foweather, because right now, Foweather's pulling away, and that is not what Otis Adams wants to see.
Yeah, and if I'm Otis Adams and I want to pass these two cars in front of me before I get to Foweather, I say the only spot to do it is down that back straightaway. If you do it there and you can clear the car before that last corner, he can just make up some easy time, get a few places without losing any time, which would really help Otis Adams right now. And you gotta think, I know that they have two cars between them, but as we look back here, we see Chisholm getting passed by Hayes and Jose Gonzalez right there. Jose Gonzalez can't get the move done into turn 3. Looks like Chisholm going to go back for the lead down into turn 4. But back up towards the front. I know they have two cars between them, but you have to think. You have to think about this. How are they going to how is Otis Adams going to be able to pull this off? Because Otis Adams needs to swap spots with Foweather. If he had just teleportability, just to swap their spots around without losing anything, like maybe swapping Dax to Nuna or something like that. Heck, I don't know. But if he could do that, he'd probably take it right now. He has the fastest lap right now down in P4, and these two cars go side by side in front of him, which is probably not what Adams wants. But if Otis Adams can get up there to Foweather, and these two cars in between them don't, what does Adams have to do then? Because the only thing that I can think of would just be to have to try and just push Foweather into a corner, just send him out wide so that way second and third can get by him.
Yeah, I mean, at this moment, Adams, so now Adams is hoping for Hartley to catch Foweather. And we have seen in the past, sometimes Foweather can get a bit aggressive. I mean, I'm looking back, I remember that Phillip Island race where Foweather kind of took himself out of the race. And right now, Hartley is there. So, I'm not saying, and this is a really bad thing to say, Adams could be hoping that Hartley actually races Foweather here for the win, and maybe they accidentally make contact. You never know, but right now, what Adams doesn't want is Mitchell Peak to pass him, and it's coming.
Yeah, Mitchell Peak has done a great job so far. He's up 2 spots, and he's clawed his way back to this lead pack. But going to what you were saying, I know, again, it's a bad thing to say, but Hartley, if I'm him, I'm hungry for my first win in my first race. I think it'd be just a great showing of muscle, and actually, what the heck just happened? 3 wide, and that puts Otis Adams ahead of 2 cars. Now, the championship is tied. If Adams can beat Fike into turn 1, he's not going to be able to do it. This is where Adams has to be aggressive. He's still there on that 09 car. What just happened to Simon Foweather? It was going just as he wanted. Now he finds himself in 5th place with his championship hopes slipping through his fingers. Yep. But Otis Adams just trying to get around Mitchell Peak. He clears him into turn 4. This is where Adams needs to step on it. He needs to pass that 09 car. Even if he can't get around the 3, he needs to finish at least second here. And Mitchell Peak racing him, exactly what he does not want. Going into turn 5.
No, Mitchell, what are you doing?
That was turn 6, excuse me. Man. Mitchell Peak now gets around Adams, and this race just flipped right upside down.
That is what is happening right now to these 2 open drivers is not what they need. This is killing them at this point. Right now, Otis Adams will finish 1 point behind Simon Foweather if they come across the line as they stand right now. Now, these drivers could crash, but there needs to be a car in between Foweather and Adams. And what these 3 drivers have done, yes, they're going for the win, but they have to think about the championship points, the implications on the line for the whole season. And to have these guys, we'll bring up the Pro Championship again. to see exactly where some of these guys are. Mitchell Peak there with 388 points. Looks like Jordy Fike there with 411. So these guys that are racing up front right now really have nothing to gain or lose. And what they're doing right now is Otis Adams is actually getting back onto the back of them. Otis needs to get around one of these drivers, and let's just hope one of them do not make this too hard on Otis Adams. Same for Simon Foweather. If he does get up there, the last thing you want to see is an accident cause a driver to win or lose a championship.
But actually, I'd like to take a look a little bit further back in the field. If we take a gander at the back of the camera, we can't see some of the cars that are in 7th, 8th, 9th. If we look back, we can see a white car back there with pink highlights. That is the 75 car of Nicky Borovic, and he's catching Simon Foweather. That gap was 1.2 seconds at the start of this lap. He lost 3/10, but Foweather is just staring death in the eyes. He has a threat in front of him. He has a threat behind him. If Borovic catches up to Foweather and passes him, that gives Otis Adams a tie, and that is not what Foweather wants here. And if Borovic gets past Foweather and Adams gets past Peak up there, that just gives Adams the championship. So Foweather has got to do something here. If he doesn't do something, he risks losing his championship here. It's all about balance for him right now. He needs to realize, okay, is Adams catching Peak up there? Am I under threat from Nicky Borovic behind me? If they maintain these spots, Simon Foweather wins the championship. They just need to stay careful. Foweather just needs to stay careful here and stay consistent and try and just end up finishing P5. Even if he can't catch Adams, it's still a valiant effort put up from him. But if he can't catch up to Adams, he just needs to pray that Borovic can't catch up to him. And actually, they go side by side for P2. Up through the last corner, Mitchell Peak trying to get around Jordy Fike here. It looks like, not clear just yet. Side by side across the line, dead even into turn 1. Hard on the brakes into the chicane. Looks like Mitchell Peak easily going to take that one away. And now, another storyline to follow here. Can Mitchell Peak sweep the night? He's up 5 spots. He won Heat 1. If he can catch up and pass Hartley, he'll have swept the night here in the Spec-5 World Tour in the final race of the season.
Yeah, this is all to play for right now. We've got a bunch of storylines definitely starting to form right now. Looks like Foweather has cleared Borovic and passed Borovic, and we do have a move of Otis Adams trying to think about it on Jordy Fike, but that was a very late move, and Jordy Fike cut that one off. So, we do have Adams. He is catching Fike. He needs to pass Fike. He absolutely has to get around Fike here to even give himself a shot at winning this championship in the open class. But it looks like Fike may just have just enough right now. And unless Otis has saved some tires, he's really good. It's going to be difficult to get around that Mr. Jordy Fike guy because we have followed him and he knows how to drive a Miata.
But still, Otis Adams has 8 minutes to get the job done. Around 7 laps left for him to try and catch up. Otis Adams, 8 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but for that 22 team, it's definitely a lot of time for him. If Otis Adams can just mind his business back there, maybe save a bit of tires, go on a push lap for 1 lap, and get to the back bumper of that 09 car, he can put himself up into P3. And if that happens, the championship is tied. Then you have to think, what can Simon Foweather do? Because if Otis Adams gets around Jordy Fike, that's going to throw Jordy Fike off his line for just 1 corner. But 1 corner could make all the difference for Simon Foweather being able to pass the 09 as well. And here he goes, actually, a very aggressive move out of the chicane through Beckett's. Ooh, it's very tight off-corner exit. He's not going to get there. But if he can pull back in line, he's going to get himself a nice slipstream down the corner. But Foweather now needs to see what he can do into the last corner as Adams really trying to get around the 09. And like I was saying, if Adams gets around the 09, that will throw Jordy Fike off of his corner line for just one corner. Depending on which one, that could make all the difference for Foweather to try and get around him, and suddenly Otis Adams has to pass Peak and Hartley. But still single file back there in third, single file throughout the top 5. Otis Adams, a very aggressive move there. This just shows his determination to try and win this, but Foweather not giving up, under 2/10 behind that 22 car.
Yeah, this is some insane racing that we've got at the moment. Adams pushing Fike, and I knew Fike wasn't going to be an easy task to try to make a move around, and you can see that coming to fruition right now. They're about to come through this S section again, like we just saw him come through a little while ago. Otis Adams is not nearly as close as he was on that final lap, but you know what? Who is close is Simon Foweather on Adams, and if Foweather does get around Adams, it is lights out, good night, game, set, and match for that Open Championship.
Yeah, but you got to think Otis Adams might be able to throw a crossover. Foweather going to get a nice slipstream down this back straightaway. A bit of a DRS train is not going to help Foweather all that much, but he's going to get there. Oh, an aggressive move down the inside, has to back out of it, not going to work, and that just cost him around 0.3 of a second to Otis Adams Jr., and you just have to think, was that worth it? Was that move worth it? Because now, if Otis Adams makes a move on Jordy Fike, I don't think Foweather's close enough to capitalize on that and pass the 09 as well.
We did just miss a pass as well. Mitchell Peak has gotten around Robert Hartley, that 10K iRating driver, 97.15 to be exact. Mitchell Peak at a measly, and it's not measly, 34.73 iRating, has passed a 10K iRating driver to maybe hopefully sweep the night tonight in the heat races. But this is a battle for another time, because looking back here, Otis Adams is coming back on Jordy Fike again. They're all actually catching up to each other right now. We have got a barn burner of a finish set up for us here, Alex.
Yeah, and with those two leaders racing each other, that just brought this entire pack just tenths of a second closer together, and now it's a real draft train for these guys. Otis Adams can't use that slipstream all that much now on the backstretch to try and catch up to Jordy Fike. It's got to be all about cornering, except between these top two, they're still racing each other side by side into the last corner. Mitchell Peak holds the inside. Robert Hartley still trying to make the outside work. Gets into the grass, mid on exit. So does Otis Adams. Side by side between Jordy Fike and Hartley down the front straightaway. Here comes Simon Foweather trying to make a move on Otis Adams. And this is exactly what Otis Adams didn't need. He needs to try and make a move through turn 3 and maybe even turn 4, the chicane, to try and get that back. This is where it's going to get aggressive. If there's a wreck, I say it happens here. Hard braking into the chicane. Here they come. What are they going to do? How aggressive are they going to be? Foweather can't get the position. Otis Adams takes it back, but now they are almost a second back. They're still side by side down this short chute. This is what Foweather needs. Foweather needs to just try and hold Adams back from that front pack. And now Foweather has gotten around Otis Adams, but how aggressive is Otis going to be to try and get this spot back?
Yeah, Otis is going to have to do something. It's basically make or break for him at this point. You also do need to think about Sean Hayes back there. 8th place right now, 0.2 of a second off of Chisholm. So Sean Hayes is still in the battle, per se, for the top 3, but it's not for the top 3.
Pass for the lead.
What? As we do see a pass for the lead right now. Robert Hartley on Mitchell Peak. Again, Peak on the inside, Hartley on the outside. They are 2x2 going through the final corner, down the start-finish straight, and they're going to be 2x2 going into the left-hander as well. This is some great racing we're seeing right now.
Ooh. Hartley way deep into that corner, doesn't make it stick. He keeps it on track, but now Mitchell Peak has gone by him, and Jordy Fike is going to try and go for it as well. And as we were looking at that, Otis Adams and Foweather went side by side into the last corner, and now it's side by side for third into turn 4. Hartley gets the spot, and Otis Adams Simon Foweather and Otis Adams, they've gotten that gap back together. Foweather can now try and make a move on Jordy Fike. They are close enough to get that slipstream.
So this is
we take a look at the replay.
This is the second lap in a row I've seen Adams get off the track here, and that's hurting him very, very badly to try to get back up to these guys in the top 4.
Maybe just got to think he's got to be so aggressive to try and catch up. to Foweather and try and get that spot back. But if he can't pass another car, it's going to be all for naught. Just 2 laps going to be remaining in this race. 2 minutes, just a minute and around 40 seconds left to go in Season 8 of the Spec-5 World Tour. It's gonna get wild here, folks. Down into turn 1, Hartley trying to make a move for the lead. Foweather trying to make a move to try and get the championship. Otis Adams back there trying to make a move on Foweather. It's just constant chaos with these top 5. Everybody going for a win. Either that or they're going for a championship back there between 4th and 5th. And even throughout the field they're racing as well. It looks like Zabelski just made a pass on Vaccaro. It's just constant chaos throughout the field. Just everyone just racing as hard as they can as they enter the final minute of the Spec-5 World Tour. This won't be the final lap, but next time by it will.
Well, yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to get across the line here before they hit that 20-minute mark. But it's going to be extremely close to... Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to do it. So this will be the final lap, though, as we do have Robert Hartley trying to make a move on Mitchell Petey. He's going to go around the outside. He's been liking this outside into the final corner. Is he going to get it done even before they get there? No, that looks like they were on the brakes at about the same time. Hartley's going to try to hold it around the outside, though. At the moment he gets into the grass, though, and that's going to give Fike a chance again to get back up here into this top 3. But look out. Don't look now, because here comes Foweather around the outside into the chicane.
As they take the white flag, the last lap of Season 8 of the Spec-5 World Tour underway. Fike goes to the inside of Hartley. This is where it's all this is what it's all gonna come down to right here. If Adams can make some aggressive moves in the last part of this lap, he still has a shot at this.
Whoa.
But Mitchell Peak pulling away up there. Hartley goes into the grass. Here comes Foweather to the left side of Fike. 3 wide down the short chute. Foweather can't make it happen. Actually, yes he can. He's there. Hartley is back there as well. Hartley has separated Foweather and Adams into the chicane. Adams still trying to go for it around Hartley. Hartley not giving in. This is exactly what Otis Adams didn't need on the last lap. And if Foweather just keeps the nose of that car clean, he can win the championship. But down the back straightaway for the final time. It's been a brilliant season. Fantastic racing at just about every race that we've been to. And through the last corner, Foweather goes for a late move. Otis Adams tries to get around Hartley. It's going to be close. I don't think he can do it. But across the line, it looks like as Mitchell Peak wins the race, Otis Adams is going to steal P4. Now it all comes down to bonus points. But back up to the pro standings. Rui Coimbra didn't have to start the last race of the season. But Rui Coimbra is your Pro Series championship. Let me try that one more time. Rui Coimbra is your championship winner for Season 8 of the Spec-5 World Tour. He didn't even need to start the race, just trying to help out his teammate. But unless bonus points can help them out, Foweather currently is your open class champion.
Yeah, this is a pretty big deal here. I'm definitely going to have to see. And again, we will make sure that all of you guys are notified. We can even make it in one of the YouTube comments for this video later on tonight or into tomorrow when the points do get finalized. Right now, we're looking at Simon Foweather, though, who should be your open class champion. And Jordy Fike thinking he's going to be coming home second in the pro class championship. I think before I say that, let's go to the points before. And it is going to be Jordy Fike coming home in second place, as there they go, celebrating everything, all of the accomplishments, everything that's been done this season. Great, great, great showing by everybody. And it has been awesome to see everybody this season. So take you through the finishing order. I can't do it right now. Again, the results aren't showing coming up, but we got Mitchell Peak in first in pro class with Jordy Fike in second in pro class. Simon Foweather, third, first in the open class with Otis Adams, second in the open class, fourth overall. Robert Hartley comes home third in class, fifth overall. Nicky Borovic, Sean Hayes comes home third in the open class, 7th overall. John Chisholm there in 8th place in the Open. 4th place in the Open, 8th overall. Brian Zabelski takes 5th in class in the pros, 9th overall, with Charles Vaccaro bringing down the top 10. 5th overall in the Open. Jose Gonzalez, 6th overall in the Open, or 6th in the Open, 11th overall. Stephen Hellowell, 12th overall, 7th Open. Greg Brockway, 8th in the Open class, 13th overall. Tom Rath comes home 14th, 6th in class and pros. And David Tamira comes home 15th overall, 9th in class. And that is your field for tonight. Waiting here for some drivers to pop in. We're going to have some, definitely some interviews tonight. We've got some drivers that won some races, made some podiums, as well as took home some championship wins tonight, Alex.
Yeah, and just a great showing, a great send-off for the last race of Season 8 of the Spec-5 World Tour. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better race. I really enjoyed everything that went on tonight. We had championship drama. We had people sweeping both races. And we had a driver that didn't even need to start the last race to win himself his respective championship. Just a great showing from everyone tonight. And I'm proud of everybody that's involved in this series, of all the drivers for showing up week after week after week, throwing virtual race cars around virtual racetracks to end up with a championship at the end of the season. Thanks to all the admins, Brennan Horn, Greg Brockway, all those guys for putting on a great season for us to cover. And I can't wait for next season of this series if we can get one covered here, because I'm honestly, after watching these races, I'm excited for some more Miata action.
Well, talking with Greg, I do believe we are going to have a next season here for the Spec-5 World Tour, which is great to see. But we do have an interview. First place in the pro class, Mr. Mitchell Peak. Alex, I'll let you take it away.
Well, Mitchell Peak, I do believe that was your first win of the season in dominating fashion. You sweep both races of the night en route to your first overall win in the Spec-5 World Tour in the last race of the season.
Well, color me surprised, because I definitely didn't expect this coming into tonight. But, qualifying in race 1 put me in P2, and I wanted to be aggressive early in the first race just to see if I could, lead a lap and feel comfortable out there. And I think Tom and Otis had some kind of coming together, or Tom spun off or something, and I was able to get about, a 1.5 to 2 second gap on Otis. And race 1, I was just kind of able to maintain that gap the whole way and pull off the victory. And then race 2 is a little bit more work for me starting P7, but picked my way through the field. I think it was on around lap 6 or so. I was sitting behind Otis, and I made a pretty aggressive move right into that the fast S's section, and took a lot of trust on both our parts for that one to stick. But I knew if I had a shot at winning, I'd need to get ahead of him early. And then I just kind of worked as well as I could with Jordy, and then the battle was on with Rob there for a good 6 or 7 laps. I've known him for a long time, and it's always fun racing wheel to wheel with him like that. Full trust when you're going into those corners, and you try a little bit of the funny stuff when you're racing against someone you know so well. So, yeah, tonight was just a total blast.
Yeah, you definitely put on a great show for us and everybody watching. Going back to the start of that race, how difficult was it to pick your way through that field to try and get up to challenge for the lead and even take the lead after starting P7?
It wasn't easy. I think early on, it might have been like lap 2 or 3, I ended up getting a double pass out of, I think it was like turn 2 and 3, that section. I managed to pick off 2 cars really early. So that got me up into P5, and then again, just, full trust in Otis when I tried the hero move at a really risky spot on the track. And, it looks like there's a lot of passing zones here because the draft is so strong and you've got that huge hanger straight. But just coming into Stowe Corner there's just so many different lines that can work. So some people like the outside, some people like the inside. Some people were trying the over-under. And really, that was, your best chance at overtaking, but it was so easy to defend there at the same time. I kind of liked going for a move into turn 1 around the outside, which gave the inside into turn 2. A little bit risky because if the car on the inside runs a little bit deep into turn 1 there for that chicane, you're going to have some contact, and then there's going to be a lot of tears race over. But thankfully for me, all the moves I seemed to go for tonight worked in my favor. So when that happens, it's always a good feeling.
Yeah, and you were able to overcome P7 after the invert to win both races here tonight. A great job from you. Anyone you want to thank for being able to get it done?
I'll give a shout out to Brendan Horn, who's been doing a lot of behind the scenes admin work for this series, and it looks like he's stepping away after the season, and he's been a big part of the season since it started, like this whole series. So you're going to be missed, Brent, but yeah, just thanks to the team. Thanks to you guys for putting on such a great broadcast. It's always fun to watch these back and laugh at my mistakes. But tonight I get to sit back and watch it and enjoy the show. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thank you for that. You end up winning your first race of the season, and you sweep both races tonight. And doing that, have a good one.
Thanks, man. You too.
That was Mitchell Peak there, first in class as well as first overall. We do have right now, looks like we're going to be able to drag Simon Foweather down here. First in the open class, third overall in the second place, or in the second race. Simon, welcome in, man. You were sweating tonight, had some crazy battles out there.
Yeah, it was all about the points for me. Race 1, I wanted to take it easy, and I was okay being behind Otis. Because I had probably 4 points on him, I think, and the main thing was to keep it clean, which I didn't. I'm not sure anyone did in the end, because you get 2 bonus points if you get no off tracks. But race 2, it was pretty intense. Had a great start. I'm not sure what happened to Sean at this. Maybe he got slowed down or something. But I thought I was doing great. And then I got a slow down and I had to back out and join the crowd at the back there, but it ended up being a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was definitely a knockdown, drag out battle, and when you go back to watch the broadcast, if you do, you will hear us trying to break down how the points were going to end up. And basically, we saw there in race number 2, Otis needed to finish without the bonus points, because we do remember that there were no incidents, but we definitely saw some incidents, some off tracks through some of these corners, especially through the S's. I believe that's the Maggots and Beckett section of the new track. Yeah, so we knew that Otis had to finish at least one car ahead of you to bring it into a tiebreaker. And you just, man, there were some times that we thought Otis was going to do it, and then there were some times that we thought you were just going to pull away, and you guys were just back and forth that whole second race. Kind of walk me through your thoughts and walk me through what you were thinking when you did see Otis right next to you, or when you saw those pro drivers battling ahead of you.
Yeah, I think Otis was not right in front of me when I rejoined that pack. So. And then he was. So I kind of took it easy a little bit. I wanted to see where his weak points were. And then I spent a lap cooling the tires down a little bit. And after that, it was just sending it. And I got him on that corner on the straightaway is pretty challenging to get right, especially if you're wide. But it just kind of panned out somehow. I'm not sure how. Usually the inside's favored, but that panned out. He tried to come back, and then I think I got Hartley as well somehow.
Yeah,
I guess he went off track or something. But
yeah, so Hartley was battling up there for first place for most of that second race, and then with about a lap to go, he just fell straight off the pace. Ended up finishing 5th, with you taking 3rd there overall. So yeah, he even fell behind Otis there at the end. Yeah,
could have taken Geordie Fight maybe if I had another lap, but it was a good result, and super happy with it, and it was an awesome race. I really enjoyed it.
Well, absolutely, Simon. I do believe unofficially you have also won the Open Championship this season, so congratulations on that as well. Obviously, there are bonus points to take into account, so I may eat my words come tomorrow morning. But with that being said, Simon, anybody you want to thank, anybody you want to shout out for the race and for the season that you've been able to put on?
Yeah, thanks of course to Brennan and the rest of the guys that have put this on. I know we're probably going to have to spread out the workload for next season, which I'm sure everyone will. And just looking forward to going up to Road America next weekend, flying up there Thursday for WRL. So shout out to the PMW team, number 72. So just watch out for us there.
We will be looking for you there. Remember that, guys. Number 72. I hope they're at Road America next weekend. So thank you so much, Simon, for all the great races you put on this season. We can't wait to talk to you soon.
Yep, look forward to next season. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
That was Simon Foweather there in first in class, third overall. We do now have Jordy Fike to bring down. Alex, if you're with us, I'm going to go ahead and give Jordy to you. Second overall, as well as second in class. Jordy Fike.
Well, Jordy, you did a great job tonight, even while mixing it up with the championship competitors. And for the lead at some points, you were still able to end up with a great finish for yourself. Walk me through it.
Oh, probably the most fun I've had all season. That first race, we were pretty much follow the leader, and in Discord we were talking about how maybe we hadn't done the best job picking the sprint race tracks because it really was a draft train. If the guy in front of you was pulling a draft and the guy in front of him, there wasn't really anything you could do but hold on to the draft and drive around the track for 20 minutes. And then we got in the second race, and that all, and I don't blame it just on the inverted. It just, everybody was more, okay, go time, let's have some fun. And everybody was too wide, racy. Racing with Mitchell and Hartley and giving them a go. Like I said, most fun I've had all season.
Yeah, and obviously you guys put on a great show for us tonight. I want to talk about that last lap with you for a second, because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say you started the last lap in either P3 or P4. You ended up with P2. We saw the chaos between the open drivers racing for the championship. How were you able to stay up front and still end up second on the podium?
Well, yeah, I was definitely under pressure by Simon. I don't know if I crossed third or fourth. It was really tight on that last lap, and managed to squeeze him out through the first chicane, and was, of course, trying to put a little bit of pressure on Rob if I could, because, you know, I'm teammates with Mitchell, and so if I can't win, one of us is going to win. And so just trying to put a little pressure on that, and then he got a little squirrely on the Exner, that second chicane, and I saw an opportunity, latched on to Mitchell's backside and was able to pull myself around. And I said, anytime, you know, it's rare enough that Hartley ever, you're not going to pass Rob Hartley on pace. Good luck on that. But if you can catch one of the rare times that, I don't want to get your YouTube channel, change your rating, but, you know, when the down below freezes over, that's about the time. That's about the time that Rob makes a mistake, you know. And it happened tonight. That rare chance, and on the last lap, no less. It was a time. If he makes a mistake first lap, who cares? Rob's good enough. He's going to come back and still whomp you. But he actually did it when it mattered for a change. Something that does happen a lot, and I'll take it. And that was, like I said, it's just so much fun tonight. I kind of knew Rui was locked into first. I highly suspected I was locked into second, and so the pressure was off. It was just go out and have a good time tonight.
Yeah, and you were able to definitely have a good time racing with everybody in the second race, and the first a little bit too, I do believe, from watching that. Anybody you want to thank for just being able to come out here last race of the season and just have a good time?
You know, thank my wife for letting me do it. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thank Esport Racer Group, my team, for all the work they do, all the practice help us get better. All, you know, Mitchell's been just racing with guys like Mitchell and Greg and Nikki every day is coaching. And then also, yeah, we got to stop and thank one more time. I said it twice during the race. I want to say it again officially in the broadcast. This league has been around this is our finish of our 8th season. Greg Mack and Greg Brockway did so much work early on getting this league going and putting the framework there to grow organically because it was a quality product. And then for this last year, for all the hard work that, in particular, Greg and Brockway and Brennan have done to keep this thing going. It's really hard to do. It's hard for a couple people to put in all that work. And we're going to be around for season 9. We're going to take a little bit different approach, maybe try and have some more people helping out and try and lessen the load on everybody's back. And everybody's watching this, please, think about joining up. We do go for quality over quantity. 40 car fields would be nice, but only if we get 40 guys we want to spend every Thursday night with, and we know are good quality drivers that we can go side by side, 0xing, and still trust what's going to happen at the end of the day. So, like I said, one last time, just really want to thank Brennan in particular for all his hard work.
Yeah, and definitely right about that. If you want to join the Spec-5 World Tour and race with these guys next season, you can get in contact with Brennan or one of us over here at Slow Motion Broadcasting so we can get you guys in there to race with these guys Thursday nights. And Jordy, just awesome for you to be able to come out here and have fun. Have a good night, my man.
Thanks, guys.
That was Jordy Fight there, second in class as well as second overall. We do have Otis Adams now. I'll go ahead and take this one, Alex, but I'll let you have him just a little bit as well. Otis finished behind Simon Foweather. Don't think you were able to get that championship points win, but man, you got close. Congratulations, I believe, on your second place in the championship in the open class. Walk me through both of your races tonight, because neither one of them looked like they were too easy for you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Doing the points, adding them up as a team ourselves, and or not a team ourselves, and it looks like me and Simon are tied. So I don't know what the tiebreaker is, but gotta double check that math too. But either way, it was fun. Glad I got a good result this race. Just first race I was just trying to keep it clean, and I could barely keep up with Mitchell, and then the second race there, I was just like, I got to keep it tight with Simon. I was hoping to beat him, but didn't work out, and it's pretty hard to pass here. And so, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely put on a show for us tonight. We watched you make some moves through, I believe, what is Maggots and Beckett's there in the new track, but the S corners that were just super fast for these Miatas, and we watched you take a few moves there, and man, you were dicing it up there with. All of the guys, really, but Robert Hartley in particular, who 10K I rating, you were up there just dicing it up with him. 2 open class drivers between you and Simon, doing a great job. What happened to Rui there on that second start? Was there? Can you tell us what happened and why Rui didn't start the race?
Yeah, he wasn't feeling good even through the first race, and so I think he just wasn't up for it, which didn't help because I was hoping he'd be there to hopefully get some points in between me and Simon, but he couldn't go, so it happens.
That's unfortunate, but Otis, no matter what happens, man, if you finish first, Simon finishes first. You've done a great job this season. It's been great commentating you, and we apologize up here in the booth for all of the commentators' curses that we've given you, man. You probably could add the championship win if Slow Motion Broadcasting wasn't commentating the Spec-5 World Tour this season. But anyways, anybody you want to thank, anybody you want to shout out for making this happen and making whatever comes in the season happen for you?
Well, definitely want to thank Brennan and Greg for putting on a great series here. I know they're both busy people, so a lot of credit to them. I know it takes a whole lot of work to run one of these leagues, a lot more than most people think. And thank you guys for the great broadcast. I haven't watched this one yet, but I'm sure it's great like the rest of them. I gotta echo Paul saying that it's great that you guys go through the whole field. You're not just sitting on the leaders even. So that's definitely great to see. I got to thank my whole family. Thank my daughter Senna, who I picked up at the last second from ballet before this race started. I was actually kind of scared I wasn't going to make it, but thanks to her and the whole rest of my family. And of course, all the guys at Not a Team.
Awesome, Otis. Well, thank you so much, man. It sounds like we're going to be back here for Season 10 of the Spec-5 World Tour, so hopefully we'll be talking to you sooner rather than later, my man.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. That was Otis Adams there. Finished second in class, 4th overall. Big congratulations to all of the drivers here tonight. Doesn't look like we're going to pull in Robert Hartley or Sean Hayes. I do believe they left, and we have actually lost Greg Brockway, who was sitting in the interview waiting room. I think now would be the time to let everybody know. Everybody's been kind of echoing Brennan Horan. It sounds like he's probably done here being an admin for the Spec-5 World Tour. As Jordy said, pivotal, and him and Greg Brockway have been working together to get everything set up and getting a good core group of drivers together for just racing on a Thursday night. You can tell these guys enjoy what they're doing. So that's no small part due to Brennan Horn being able to get everything put together, helping me out with all the overlays and staying up late and talking for hours on how we can make things better here. And he is a big help over here at Slow Motion Broadcasting as well. So yeah, Brennan, big shout out to you, man, for everything you've done for this league and everything you will probably continue to do, as Lewis even wanted to give you a bit of a shout out there at the end as well. But anyways, with that being said, Alex, you got anything else for the fans for the last race of the season here?
I just want to say thank you to just everybody who has ever been involved in us being able to do this. For just Brennan, I know you're not going to be up there on the admin team much longer, but just thank you to you, Greg Brockway, and all the other admins for just being so vital to the success of this series in Season 8. Fantastic racing from all the drivers. Thank you to all of them. And of course, Adam, and to Slow Motion Broadcasting, I want to give you guys a thanks for just letting me being able to come up here and just do what I love and just commentate these races. I believe you probably just took me off chance because you needed somebody. I do appreciate the opportunity, and just again, just a huge thank you to everybody that just made Spec-5 World Tour just run. Just fantastic way to spend my Thursday nights.
Yeah, it really has been a fantastic way, I think, for everybody to spend their Thursday nights that involved. And all the viewers, thanks guys for hanging around and hanging along with us, sticking along, and going through what has been an awesome season there in the Spec-5 World Tour. With that being said, we are at Slow Motion Broadcasting looking for commentators and broadcasters. So if that'd be something you guys are interested in, just go ahead and hit us up in the YouTube. You can go to our Facebook at Slow Motion Broadcasting, or Twitter, SM Broadcasting, or our website, and you can apply there to be a commentator or broadcaster, www.slowmotionbroadcasting.com. You can go to opportunities and you can fill out the form, get it sent in, and I will be in contact with you when I get that, if that's something you guys want to do. But with that being said, that's enough about us. For one final time this season, my name is Adam Thompson. Been joined in the commentary booth by Alex Anderson. Brendan Horn, unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it tonight. From us to all of you guys, all the drivers in the league, congratulations on a great season. This has been our coverage of race number 10, Spec-5 World Tour. We hope to see you all guys again very soon for season 9. Have a great Thursday night. Have a great weekend. Everybody be safe. So long.